What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Austin Ariel, and if you're new to the channel, welcome. Today we're doing another car review, but on something a little bit different than what you're accustomed to on the channel. Today we're talking about the Volkswagen ID.4. This is their new foray into the world of EVs, as that's what the world has kind of pushed us towards. So today I'm going to go through Volkswagen's first full-fledged mass market EV in the form of this crossover. Let's get to it. I've borrowed this Volkswagen ID.4 from Jim Ellis Volkswagen here in Kennesaw, Georgia. They are actually one of the first dealerships to get the ID.4 in stock, and this is their only one. This is actually technically a demo vehicle to allow people to test drive, such as me. So today I'm gonna give a big thank you to Jim Ellis Volkswagen here in Kennesaw. I'm gonna give you guys the link to their inventory down below. And then again, I'm gonna give a big shout out to them. And then now we're actually gonna get into this Volkswagen ID.4. So again, remember, if you guys haven't already, hit that subscribe button if you wanna show support for the channel. And if you want to keep up with everything that I review. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Let's get to the video. So let's start on the front of the Volkswagen ID.4. So for one, you're going to notice that there is no grille really on the front of this car. This is a full EV vehicle, therefore you're not going to have any openings needed to cool any motor, as this one does not have a gasoline engine on the vehicle. So headlights here, they're actually going to be a little bit of a rounded look. All right, you're going to find that this vehicle is very different from everything else that Volkswagen has. You do have these little curtains here that are actually functional. These are plastic, but it looks very durable. But you do have this plastic air curtain here. It does shuttle air. Obviously for aerodynamics, you do have this in this car. In addition to that, you do have LED lighting on the front, not only for your indicators. See, if I press this, you can see the indicators there. But you do have LED headlights with high beam assist. So you do have a lot of assist features with the lighting going on here. Down here, you do have openings here in the lower grille portion, which is also plastic, but it still gives a good contrast to this white color. Now, this is a first edition ID.4, so I'll show you what that means in a little bit. But other things to make note of is that you do have this huge white Volkswagen badge. It's not chrome, it's actually white, and I think it looks cool matching with the car. And then this area here, you've got more LED lighting that goes into the actual front of the car, and it looks really, really cool, really clean look, brings it into a futuristic stance. And then this is gloss black, which looks really, really handsome on the car. So overall, I think this is not a generic look to the car, but compared to Volkswagen's other offerings, this is definitely not as aggressive. And I think that's what you kind of need with an EV. So good job there for you, Volkswagen. So on the ID.4, this is going to be actually a wheel set that comes on this first edition. They might actually use it for other trim levels, but I'm just going to speak on the first edition here. So these are going to be 20-inch wheels, and as you can see, like other VW products, you do have these little, I don't know what material it is. It might be rubber, it might be plastic, but it covers the lug nuts to create a more uniform look, and I love that about Volkswagen. You do have the center wheel cap here, and make note that this is also painted white. That is really good attention to detail. This is a 235 width tire. It is a Bridgestone tire. 50 series sidewall, and again, this is a 20-inch wheel. You can see that it's a lot of surface area because, again, aerodynamics, but they give it this kind of fan blade look that the Volkswagen Group is known for. So overall clean design, and it fits the purpose and the overall design of the car. Other parts of attention to detail would be this first badge, because again, this is a first edition ID.4. Another interesting attention to detail is that these door handles are not actual handles. Behind here, there's a physical button, and all you have to do is have the key fob on you, and this is what the key fob looks like, and you can simply walk up to the car, pull, and it comes unlatched. Same deal with the back. You just simply pull and you'll feel the button release. It's an electronic release and it opens up the door. If you're going away and you want to lock it, just simply rest your finger right there. You'll see the side mirrors fold in, because yes, these are power folding mirrors, and you can just walk away. Super, super nice. Now in the back of the ID.4, one thing I'm going to make note of first and foremost is that the ID.4 badge is ironically paint matched. I don't know if that's specific to the first edition, but I find it interesting because it kind of blends in and you almost wouldn't see it. So overall, I love the fact that ID.4 is just so different. It kind of creates an identity for the car, no pun intended. Darn you, Volkswagen. But it's just a cool name. In the world of EVs, you gotta have a cool name, you know? Not like Kia Niro. Anyways, back here you got a full LED lighting system in the back. I'll hit the indicators for you guys. You can see it is completely LED, looks really nice. You do have this whole bar going across the back because that is just what trends are now in the world of cars, and definitely Volkswagen's taking advantage of that. You do have the white VW badge back here, but ironically, this is not where the backup camera is going to be. It's actually down here, which I find different because a lot of other Volkswagens, this doubles as not only the liftgate opener, but it also exposes the backup camera. But you can see it's right down here, and the liftgate opener is actually right here. This is a power tailgate on the first edition. In addition to that, you do have a lot of this plastic cladding, and I find it very interesting because you have it in the front, and it is a very durable plastic cladding. It doesn't look like they were trying to cheap out, so to speak. So I think it goes with the nature of this vehicle that they don't only want this to be an urban dweller, but they want you to take this on adventures too, and I think that's where they're going with this. So you do have rear parking sensors here, which are nice because you do have front parking sensors as well, so it makes it easy to park this vehicle. So in addition to the backup camera, you do have a tow hitch back here because this is a single battery unit. So because of that, you're gonna go a little bit less in horsepower. So 201 horsepower, 228 foot-pounds of torque, single drive transmission, but you can actually tow 2,200 pounds with this model. If you get the dual motor, you get a little more. I believe it's in the high twos. I think it's 2,700 pounds that you can tow with the dual motor. So make note of that. And then in addition to that, you do get some stylistic features here. So you notice how this painted piece just kind of curves into this bumper here. It's really, really cool. But I want to just point out the fact that everything about this car is rounded. The lighting is rounded. The silhouette rounded. Everything here is rounded. You can definitely tell that this is a different step from Volkswagen themselves, and they're trying to prove that, right? The Volkswagen Group is definitely trying to differentiate their EV products from their mainstream gasoline products, and I think they've done a pretty good job with this one. In the back here, gloss black for the actual roof. You do have a panoramic sunroof, which I'll show you guys in the interior. You do have tinted glass back here. I'm kind of interested on why they brought the wiper down here, because there's a lot of room underneath the spoiler, and I feel like they could have made it drop down from the top to create a more flush look back here. You guys know how much I value that, but it doesn't look bad or anything like that. That's just me being heinous. You do have a large LED brake light up top, so overall a very, very nice clean look. But one thing I will just kind of throw out there, when you look at this, you're going to know this is an EV. This doesn't look like it would be a current gasoline vehicle. This looks like a fully electric vehicle, and I think it's because it just looks futuristic. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. So without further ado, let's get into the trunk of this thing. So getting into the rear trunk area of this car. So again, this is a actually pretty big trunk here. So you've got a lot of usable space. You do have a cargo cover on this vehicle as well. You can see my bags here. This one does have this cargo mat cover, but underneath here, you're gonna see that you have even more storage space. And if you can guess from that indicator, it's where you actually store the trickle charger for the vehicle. So it's really nice to know that you have a little bit of utility. This is actually a very, very large space. So you can definitely take all the groceries, that you need to. You can let the seats down if you want to and just have a flat load floor. You can definitely do it. And then if you see back here, you can see you can actually get a little central partition there. So if you wanted to, you can actually bring things through. For those of you who were wondering, because I know you will, that's what it looks like with the central entry point into the cabin. So if you want to put a 2x4 in here, have at it. So we are in the back seat of the ID.4, and the front seat is pretty much where I would sit. And I'm gonna say the roof line is a little bit low in this car, and I think they did that mostly for aerodynamic purposes. So I'm not really gonna hold that against them. But overall, me being 5'9", I'm actually pretty comfortable here. I'm gonna say this is probably one of the single most comfortable seats I've ever sat in any car, bar none. These seats are amazing. I am so comfortable in these things. I just really don't want to leave. And I love this interior color. So while I'm going to show you what all is going on back here in the back of the Volkswagen ID.4. So in the back of the Volkswagen ID.4, like I said, this is their light. It's kind of a grayish interior, almost a white, but it looks so pretty. This is a synthetic leather. It is not real leather, but it feels very nice. It's very soft. So like I said, you can let down the seats if you want to. Just use the shoulder, bring it on back. If you do take this middle area down, you do expose 2 cup holders, which is nice. And then, like I said, you do have this pass-through area if you want to. You have this handle right here to release it, and you have the one on the other side of it. And then over here, you can see the huge panoramic sunroof. And yes, I said sunroof because apparently the difference between a sunroof and a moonroof is that the sunroof does not open. So this is actually a fixed panel of glass. LED interior lighting. Let's take a look at the door cards. You do have this hard plastic. This is a very hard plastic, but it is soft. The texture isn't too harsh to your touch. You do have this metallic finish on the door handle, which looks really nice. And then look at these interior accents. Yes, it's a hard plastic. I don't think it looks cheap or feels cheap. It feels very sturdy when you're trying to grab the door. But man, I just love this contrast color. I'm curious to see how it'll wear over time and if it'll discolor or anything like that. I'm sure they thought that through, but man, that just looks really cool. So this is an actual kind of door handle pull. And yes, this goes completely through, but it is really nice. Automatic up and down windows you see there for the rear. And then you do have this little storage pocket here, which I'm sure you could fit a water bottle, snacks, whatever you need to. And then the speaker grill is kind of just chilling there. They didn't even attempt to do anything fancy with it. It's just right there for you, not trying too hard. If we actually go into the back here, you're gonna notice rear vents, which is very important for a lot of people, especially families. And then 2 USB-C ports, which is really nice. And then in addition to that, you got a little storage pocket here, put some quarters or anything like that. And then it's very well hidden, but you do have map pockets here, which is very interesting. And then look at this. Up top, you can put a device in here, which is really, really smart. But look at how well integrated it is. You probably would have never known if I didn't show you that, because look at that. It looks like it's just built into the seat, but you have that on both sides. It's really, really nifty. So that was really, really well done. So I'm in the Volkswagen ID.4, and this is a first edition model. So pretty much these come pretty loaded out from what I understand. So this one does have the bigger 12-inch screen. You're gonna have heated seats, massaging seats. Yes, I said massaging seats. That was kind of a tongue twister. But in addition to that, both front seats are actually going to be memory seats, which is really nice. If you actually look over here, you got the memory function, and then the last button down is actually going to be your massage function. If you look at the seat design itself, you can see ID kind of perforated in there. What's the correct word? It is perforated, right? Not perforated, because perforated sounds like you're trying to prefer something. Anyways, ID marked into the seat. You can see the perforations that actually are honeycomb, which looks really nice. And it's kind of two-tone, and they do have this fabric on the outboard aspect of the seat, which would probably help with wearing. And then you do have these armrests here, which are actually pretty decent in size, which is really nice. And they're actually contrasting colors to the actual seat, which is really cool. Now, in the center stack here, You have these two slots here to hold any cards like credit cards, license, ID, whatever have you. Two cup holders here. I'm putting my mask over there. You have your wireless phone charger down here. You've got your USB-C ports there. And then you have this system here, which is cool. This is a storage pocket, but look at these things. So let me go into detail about these. So these are actually removable. You can actually slide one out. I'm gonna put that back in there. Actually, I missed the spot. There we go. And you can actually adjust these. But the coolest part is with this area up here, you can actually take this out, which is really cool, and bring these up here. So if you want to bring this up here, you can. And this is actually pretty big size. So if you want like a big coffee mug or something like that to put there, you can. And yes, you don't have to keep this floating around. You can literally just put this simply down here. Look at that. I mean, this is where over-engineering is a good thing. Nobody else would have ever thought of that, but the Germans do, and that's why this thing is cool. Now, everywhere else, right? So you can see all the promotional tags that Volkswagen's put on this demo vehicle. It's really, really airy in here, right? The windows are huge. All the windows are huge. You can see the giant roof line, like I said. Really, really cool. But the thing I love most about this interior is the fact that this is simplicity where it matters. So my biggest gripe with Tesla is the fact that it's too simplistic, right? And you have to do everything from the touchscreen. This, not the case. Okay, so let's take, for example, turning on the car, right? So you have a start-stop button here, which is nice, but you don't even need that, right? If I didn't press that, I can simply choose with my foot on the brake. It would activate the car, and I can literally go into drive by switching this up. I can go into neutral by a half tug down, or go full tug and go in reverse. I have all those options just by getting in. It's really, really nice. Now, this is going to be capacitive, but some of these other ones are going to be haptic, especially on the steering wheel, okay? So, for example, the temperatures, right? You can slide it forward and backwards, or you can tap, whatever you want to do. Same deal with the volume. You can do anything like that. You can slide it if you want to, bring it down. Same thing with the driver. And then even if you rest your fingers on these, which is really cool, you can actually access everything. Climates, hazards. I mean, it's insane. I'm gonna turn those back off. So you can just rest your fingers on those. Those are not physical buttons. It's really cool. Now, with this infotainment display, you got your kind of home button here, which is really nice. You can see iPhone, My Tunes, which is my phone. So you've got wireless Apple CarPlay in here, which is really nice. But you've got so many things that you can do. So I'm gonna press the home button. This is the 12-inch screen. So I actually love the color scheme here, mostly because it's blue and that's my favorite color. But you've got navigation if you want to, which is really cool. Look at this little screen. It is actually really, really nice. You can hit map, brings up the map if you wanted to. So really, really nice, really quick too with the feedback, which is interesting because a lot of other reviews that I've seen on this car has this laggy. Maybe this is a exception, I'm not sure, but this one's not that laggy at all. You can hit vehicle, it can show you up-to-date information with the battery, long-term, since charge. This is fresh on the lot, so obviously there's not going to be too much information on it. Ambient lighting, sound settings, radio media, telephone, simple stuff there. The Apple CarPlay, and then you can see you've got a 3-menu system here if you want to, okay? You do have things that you can access. So if I touch the climate controls, you see you can activate the heated steering wheel, the heated seats, you can sync, you can change all the temperatures, directionals, everything there. You can do smart climate if you want to. So look at this. Clear view for the windshield. If you want warm feet, if you want warm hands, if you want cool feet, if you want fresh air, if you want quick cooling, this is super cool. Super intuitive. I am actually impressed that they did something like this. Really, really cool. Now, getting over to here, so this is actually really, really cool. So, for example, I'm going to press bring this up to speed here. So this is the ID cockpit, and yes, it is specifically called the ID cockpit. So you can see here that it is a digital display, and yes, you can change views to see what's more important to you if you want to, but it doesn't change too much in terms of what you can view. Now, looking at other things, the whole interior scheme of the First Edition is white or light gray, whatever you prefer. I think this looks very close to white, so I'm just going to call it white. Now, one thing I love is the fact that the VW badge here is actually chrome, which is really cool. It breaks up this white, which looks nice. All the buttons on the steering wheel are full haptic feedback because, yes, they give you vibration with input. They're not capacitive, which is nice. In the screen here, you can see that you've got a lot of info at your disposal. So it shows you the current mileage, range, speedometer, and then if you had any lane safety features there, it would show you there. And then on the right hand side here, that is going to be your gear selector, and here you can put it in drive. And everybody's wondering what the B mode is, which if you select this again, B for braking. So again, that just enhances the regenerative braking and kind of that one pedal driving that some people are accustomed to. It will not bring the car to a full stop, but it does enhance the regenerative braking to make the most out of your drives. Like I said, with this gear shift, you can see the little rotating diagram. If you do a half tug back, it brings you to neutral. If you do a full tug back, it brings you to reverse. In reverse, you can see the backup camera. You can see all of the sensors up front and back. You can turn off the sensors if you want to. And yes, it is dynamic guidelines for both the top view and the backup camera itself. Okay, I'm gonna actually press this outside button to put it in park. Press that, boom, goes into park. Now, other things to make note of, they have a special button here, right here. So you see, it kind of looks like a lane safety feature with also kind of the cruise control there. What that is that's kind of a one-touch thing. I was wondering when that was gonna stop. It's a one-touch system. So essentially, you can get semi-autonomous driving out of this car, and that is like a one-touch button to do that. So it'll combine your smart cruise control and your lane safety features all in one, so that you can let the car do its thing while you're on the interstate, which is really cool. This is going to be your button to choose your smart cruise control distance, which is nice. So if you do press smart cruise control, activates it, and you can choose right here. You see the green lines there. Just super, super cool. I actually really like that. Now, on the steering wheel itself, same synthetic leather. It might be plant-based. Comment down below if you know this is plant-based. I don't think I read anything about that yet, but I know a lot of companies are trying to go plant-based. I don't want to make any claims, but overall it's very, very soft, and I love the white color, and the stitching actually matches the color of the wheel itself, which is nice. It is a little bit of a flat bottom wheel too, and it does say First down there, so you know it's a First Edition, which is really cool. You do have standard wipers. You do have the headlight high beam function there if you want to, and of course your turn signals, standard things there. But over here you do have, look at this. That's so awesome. You've got your headlight selector here, which is really nice. So you can actually change what kind of mode you want it to be in. I always like to do auto, cycle through there, and then max, rear defrosters, and then look at this. Poor weather light. That is so cool. So essentially it just helps in terms of lighting in the front to angle the lights so that way if you're in inclement weather you get better visibility, which is really, really nice. So it's really cool to see that in a car. So kudos to you, Volkswagen, for being innovative in that essence. But this is cool. This is capacitive touch. This does not give you any feedback. So that's really cool. Now over here, this is where it gets really interesting. So this knob, you rotate it and it goes between each individual setting that you need to, and then you can pretty much adjust it any way you need to. Get your child lock there. Get your standard lock if you need to. You can unlock that. And then you're wondering why there's only 2 switches before windows. If you want to access the rear windows, you just literally do that, and then these actually control the rear windows. To get back to the front windows, just simply boop, and now you're activating the front windows again. That is really cool, and it takes a lot of switchgear out of here. I kind of wonder if that saves them in terms of money. I wonder. So let's look at the door card real quick. So it mimics the passenger side that I just showed you, but one thing I do want to point out is that, again, they are not doing anything fancy with the speaker covers, probably just to keep costs low for a car of this nature. But you do have storage pockets here, and you do have your release for the tailgate. You just pull towards you to actually open it and away from you to actually close it. And then here, this is the design of the seat, and this is mimicked on the passenger side. So you do have lumbar support for the top, bottom, and both towards and away from your back. Like I said, memory seats on both sides, and this button does control the massage function, and it is a power seat as well. Now in the first edition, make note, you get these special pedals, play and pause. Very interesting. I think it's kind of cute, but a lot of people are going to love certain things like that in this car, which is really cool. And then you do have a fully telescopic steering wheel, so just make note of that in this car. So if you're curious about the operation of the sunroof, this is where you need to look. This is actually a little slider here, which you can just slide your finger, and it'll actually close the sunroof shade rather. Now, if you want to, you can actually press anywhere and it'll actually stop it wherever you want to. So if you want to control the amount of shade that's in the sunroof, you can do that. So I'll leave it there. And then these buttons here are not really buttons. So these are actually a little touch, and the light comes on, which is nice. Same thing up here. You can turn that on, turn that on. Really, really easy. SOS button here, ingenious. You pull that and then bam, then you got the button. So that way you can't accidentally press that. Really, really smart thinking. If you're also curious where the blind spot detection is going to be in this car, it's actually, I'm going to roll down the window here. It's actually in this area of the mirror. It actually illuminates when somebody's in your blind spot. The more you know. So really quick, I'm actually going to put out all the specs to this car on the screen here for you guys, so that way y'all can see what this thing brings to the table in terms of power, efficiency, and charge times that are rated by Volkswagen, so that you can get an idea. And I'm going to actually put the MSRP, goodness, talking for me today is impossible, as tested for this vehicle up on the screen here. Alright, so we are driving the Volkswagen ID.4, and like I said, performance-wise, I think earlier I said single battery. I don't think it's got only one battery, correct me if I'm wrong, but it is a single motor. So this is a rear-wheel drive platform, which is also really cool because from a driving perspective, you just have better driving dynamics in a rear-wheel drive car. That's just personal opinion. I just like rear-wheel drive cars. Now, with the single motor unit, you do go down in power, right? 201 horsepower, 228 foot-pounds of torque. Now, in terms of driving power, and 0 to 60, from what I've been told, is anywhere between 7 and 8 seconds, which it's not going to blow your face off or anything like that, but that's not the point of this car, right? This is supposed to be Volkswagen's entry into an SUV-based market that wants an EV, and space-wise, I think they've done well. This is probably the size of, like, maybe a tad bit smaller than their Tiguan, like that, Toyota RAV4, etc. But I think it's a comfortable amount of space, and there's a lot of usable space as well, which is something that I'm also pretty impressed with, to be honest. Now, one thing I will make note, again, and I said this about the rear seats, but the front seats too, these have to be the single most comfortable seats I have ever sat in. I mean, oh, these seats are so comfortable. They're so cushioned, it's insane. Like, I love it. I really do. Super, super nice, you know. In addition to that, like the lumbar support, I mean, this thing really does go super far out with the lumbar support. It's very, very intrusive, which for some people that's a really good thing, you know. But obviously I have it set pretty far against my back, which is what I kind of wanted to do. But even when you put the massaging seat function on, oh my goodness. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't expect a massaging seat function in a Volkswagen SUV. I'm very, very taken aback by that, but in a good way. Like that, yes, that's a very good way. Yeah, see, power-wise, it doesn't have blow your face off power, right? But it does have a very, very comfortable amount, which is really, really nice. And the thing about this thing is, because it's an EV, it's super, super quiet, which is nice. You know, I mean, you guys know I'm used to having a motor and blah, 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 but it's really, really nice. I will say brake feel in this car, a little spongy, you know. I wouldn't say spongy, actually. It's just very cushioned, and I think that's because with EV powertrains, you know, you get off the accelerator pedal and it's like instant, like back off, you know. So I think they did that on purpose, so that way it wasn't too jerky. So it's a very smooth braking. I do like it. I'm curious to put it in this B mode, so I'm gonna do that. Oh yeah, that's a big difference there. So if I let off the gas, you can do one pedal driving, it slows me down. That's cool. I do like that, and I can switch it back to just normal driving. Comfort wise, this is very comfortable, and it's very secluded from the outside world. I can definitely hear a difference in terms of low road noise, right? And right now I'm doing about 35 miles an hour, so I'm not going super fast, but again, even hearing all the imperfections on the road, like, it's still very quiet, which is something that's very important in a car with no gasoline or diesel engine, because then you're going to hear more things. But in an EV, this is really nice. And I love the sunroof, right? I love how big the sunroof is. It's really nice in terms of its size, but man, so cool. I think drivability wise, it's very comfortable, and everything about it is just simplistic and comfortable. Like, comfort is the main thing that I'm drawing from this car. Like, the biggest elephant in the room is the fact that yes, it's an EV and it's an SUV, but comfort wise, like, it is just really comfortable. Wow. And it's actually pretty planted on the road. There's very minimal body roll, which is something I also really, really like. In addition to that, the steering is light, but it's actually fairly direct, which is something I didn't expect. You know, I kind of expected to have floaty steering because of its comfortable nature, but it's very, very nice. It's very light, but so direct. This thing is just comfortable. I'm gonna try that one touch travel assist, which is what that button's called. Man, this is nice. Centers you in the lane, takes care of everything. It shows you cars, and it tells you, it says take over steering, which is cool. I like that. So the car has its safeguards, which naturally cars should. You shouldn't ever rely on safety mechanisms that are employed in a car, but this thing is just a no-nonsense vehicle, and it's really nice. Really, really nice. I'm a big fan, and I think a lot of people would agree with me. So I think, as far as styling on the interior, simplistic, but not overly simplistic like Tesla, which is a big thing for me personally. As far as material qualities, I will say the seating and the screens are incredibly nice. But I will say, you can tell that they wanted to keep this as mass market as possible, so they did cheap out on, say, the door cards, the center console area, and I think that is something that as consumers we need to expect, because again, electric vehicle technology is expensive, not only to create, but to engineer, produce, and do it on a mass market level, or scale rather. It's gonna cost a lot of money, so they're gonna have to cheap out somewhere. So I think for an EV, this interior is very, very nice, you know, and the layout is very attractive as well. And that's something I was a little nervous about, because again, EVs, they can have really overly simplistic interiors, and this one's not like that. So I do praise Volkswagen for keeping the simplicity where it needed to be and not going overboard with it. So in saying that, what do you guys think of this Volkswagen ID.4? You know, I really want to see what you guys personally think of this vehicle, because I want to see what people are going to think on a large, grander scale. So, in saying that, if you guys like this review, give it a thumbs up. Definitely help support the channel by subscribing if you haven't already. And in addition to that, another big thank you to Jim Mel's Volkswagen here and Andrew. He has helped a ton in terms of facilitating this for me. So a big thank you to you, Andrew. You've been a big help in this, and I'm very impressed by this car for everything that it is. I think this is such a great package. So I'm very happy to have gotten my hands on this, especially because this is the only one they have. And from what I was told, if you want to actually order one or reserve one, delivery might not be until winter time, which is quite incredible. So I think for people who want an EV, especially in SUV form, this will do the trick for you. So until next time, I'll see you guys later.